With attribute dimensions, you can perform these key tasks: define, model, and maintain attribute dimensions with very large number of values in custom hierarchies specific to your business. Simply classify and filter your aggregation structures. Enhance your planning, reporting, and analytic capabilities to get more insight by leveraging custom data structures. And import and export attribute dimensions between enterprise data management and connected applications to synchronize your dimensional metadata. For example, you can extend product category modeling beyond simple category attributes such as infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service by defining a more detailed hierarchical attribute dimension for product. You will perform these basic tasks to use attribute dimensions. Configure the attribution dimension when you register a new application or by modifying an existing registration to add dimensions. In the dedicated viewpoint that's created for attribute dimension management style, import the attribute hierarchy to maintain or modify the attribute dimension, adding nodes as necessary to define the required structure. In the base dimension associated with the attribute dimension, assign property values in the attribute dimension to nodes in requests. You can define a full attribute dimension so that you can assign properties to nodes based on complex custom attribute dimension structures. To get started, register a new application or modify an existing registration. On dimensions, click Add to create both a new base dimension and an associated attribute dimension. For simple attributes, select Simple Dimension in the Attribute Management Style field. Simple attributes are used for attributes with fewer values that don't change much over time. For example, a product dimension can have a simple attribute called color, which can contain values of green, blue, yellow, and red. Attribute dimensions are best used for attributes with a large number of values that you want to maintain in Oracle Enterprise Data Management Cloud. For example, an entity dimension can have an attribute dimension called region, which can contain a geographical hierarchy with parent and child members. A registered dimension attribute management style is available when adding a new attribute to a dimension during application registration. A new node data type property is created for the attribute and is associated with the existing bond, node set, and node types for the registered dimensions. For this example, select the attribute dimension management style, enter a name, enter the type such as text or date, and then click Next until you can click Apply. This creates a full dimension for the attribute dimension, like the memory dimension here, in its own dedicated viewpoint with its own data chain. Ideal for independent modeling and maintenance. The attribute dimension viewpoint is included in the application's default view, and you can use it to manage the nodes in the attribute dimension. For example, this is the memory attribute dimension defined during registration for the product-based dimension. Also created are two node types, one for parent values and one for child values. A node data type property is also created that references the attribute dimension from the base dimension. Now, when you perform assignments in the base dimension, like the product dimension shows here, you can use the node selector to navigate the attribute dimensional hierarchy. For example, you can classify and model servers by tower type memory size. You can also search to find member nodes by name. Note that you can apply only bottom level nodes. You can also leverage your dimensional metadata just as you would base dimensions across planning modules, and financial consolidation and close business processes by importing and exporting attribute dimensions. To learn more, visit docs.oracle.com.